This is Calamar Records. This record label is my scene. Trying to do the right thing, trying to get paid. Damn right.
Since 99, Calamar been trying to get on this map. That's why I drop Malice with 14 tracks. Yo, I still get my hustle on. Paper back in school, working with these rappers while I'm sharing these truths. When I was born, I knew I had to try.
What is up? Happy Friday to everybody. The artist on there rapping, that was me about 20 years ago. Because obviously I used to do music, had a few things going on, and I just wanted to go back and you know just what do they call it? Reminisce just a little bit. All right, we're gonna get right to it. Thank you too for another edition of How You Should Think. There's a lot going on, obviously, in the world with the pandemic and everything going on right now. I think we're in a position where we probably need to really evaluate our leadership and really look at it from that standpoint. For all who don't know who I am or just started clicking on the videos, my name is Ian C. Jordan. You know, it's just mind-boggling the stuff I see on Facebook, the insincerity with people and just really not knowing what's going on, just out here, you know, just not really saying anything that makes sense. But I want to start off by saying government stipends, you know, that $1,200 a month, government stipends will teach our youth to depend on government. There's a section of people right now that want the economy to crash so their side can get more votes. So if you tuned in, you know about this show, this program in particular. This is one of the realest programs that you're going to witness, because I don't cut corners. I keep it completely real, and I'm not going to sit here and lie to you under any circumstances. Thank you for everybody listening on Spreaker right now on the podcast. All the people that are going to be listening to this on Anchor and wherever else you can listen to it. YouTube, if you have YouTube Premium, you can download and listen to it in your car. I want to talk about these Trumpers. Not the conservatives, because they're not conservatives. And the Republicans and the Democrats that are in office right now, they're traitors to America. And I have to say it. America is not one of the president's failed businesses. He cannot just walk away. People talk about his business acuity. And I have another question. Who's a better businessman? Would it be Trump or would it be Mark Cuban? Because I think Mark Cuban would have some stuff in place. He'd have some plans. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because President Trump seems to kind of ride with whatever's going on. And whatever the party is saying. And people act like he's this guy that's completely in control and he's that guy that doesn't answer to anybody, whatever. But off of that, I was listening, and then we're going to get to everything because I just want to go over the pros and the cons of Trump and Biden, just from a person that's completely in the middle, that's not going to be partisan. I listened to Robin Vos on the radio today, and he's in government. He's in the House. He's from Wisconsin, and I usually agree with him. But the back and forth with the whining, they're saying that Governor Evers, and Evers is the governor of Wisconsin where I'm from, they said that Governor Evers is not including them in processes, and now Robin during the pandemic, he's encouraging, he's encouraging people to rally, to try to put pressure on the government, the governor, to make him do stuff to kind of further their agenda. But in the same breath, Mr. Voss says we're taking the pandemic very, very seriously. I just want to say to people that don't understand our side of things, we are not idiots. You're going to have to leave your house eventually without a vaccine, without a cure for this thing. You have to go back to work. It's time to build up some immunity, and it's time to open up the states and hit the streets, because that's how you're going to make your money. Because you still got creditors that can collect right now, which is annoying. You got 22 million people out of work. The states are shut down. The media isn't reporting what groups are dying from this the way that they should. People want golf courses opened up. They want the parks opened up. Open up Great America, these people act a fool. So that's really where I am with a lot of things that are going on right now. So we're going to jump into why the Republicans are not conservatives. And let me explain what a conservative candidate looks like. Our candidate will abolish the IRS, the conservative candidate. Our candidate will not give checks to people without a real plan. We will make you halt collecting. Bill collectors, banks, you jerks. No interest rates, nothing. Because during a few weeks, you could have just not collected. You could have done nothing. No one can charge 35% on any kind of loan of any kind. Law enforcement will enforce the law and not be part of witch hunts. These Republicans have some conservative views, but they are not conservatives. That's why we sound wishy-washy when we are consistent. Because we, for lack of a better word, are completely honest within ourselves. You should vote for ideas, not party line. Now, for what he has had to work with in a lot of issues, he did a pretty good job to an extent. And I've done videos on his accomplishments. And he has more than a few. But this is about being realistic. I do videos and I do podcasts to let people know the truth. Not a party line. Let's go over Joe Biden's cons. Mental acuity. Biden has had a long history of gaffes. It seems like he can't really stay on task at times. He told a Detroit gun enthusiast that he was full of. And part of the problem is that Biden tends to be long-winded. He goes off script. And he creates opportunities for people like me to go and bash him. Recently, his speeches have been a little more disciplined, but I've watched dude. He's not what you want. He's not what you want in the White House. But on the flip side, do you really want President Trump back after how this has been handled? But I'm going to get back to President Trump in a second. So Biden, as long as he stays on script, I think his mental health won't be an issue during the presidential race. So let's look at the pros for the President of the United States. You gotta like President Trump's pro-growth policies. GDP growth, it exceeded 3% in 4 straight quarters at one point. 5 million jobs were created. Unemployment was below 4% at one point. And I've said this before, African American, Hispanic unemployment rates have been the lowest they ever have been. Weekly jobless claims before the pandemic were mind-blowing. Everything was great. But I'm going to tell you, with everything that's going on, President Trump is in a little bit of trouble. Let me break down why. The president said in a couple of days, I think this is like the 15th day, he said in a couple of days, you know, the numbers are going to be down to zero in regard to the pandemic. It's going to go away and disappear. One day it's like a miracle. It will disappear. He was trying to ride it like a cowboy, pretending that it will all dissipate. Now the president thinks if 100,000 to 200,000 Americans die, then that's an accomplishment. Another con, he's not going to go to war with China. We've said that. People like me are like, it's time to ride, it's time to go to war with China. It's time to sue them. It's time to do something because this is their fault. The handling of the pandemic is one of that will be his funeral. So those who complain about the media's relentless focus on Trump during the pandemic have yet to realize the horrendous reality of the mistakes this guy's made. His failure in leadership during that time shows a lot about his character and probably increased the death toll to some capacity, and it continues to threaten lives. A week after the first coronavirus cases have been identified in the United States, and it took 6 weeks before the president took an aggressive action to confront the danger the nation was facing, the pandemic, it was already too late. His ultra hyper focus on the economy and his consistent backtracking says a lot about him and says a lot about his character. I went on long enough. Everybody, I appreciate you listening, appreciate you tuning in, everything. Make sure you have a great weekend. I told you Friday we would go over some important things.
Yeah, feel us on this one.
And honestly, this is not to just get views or anything like that. This is really to educate and let people know how they should think.
See, I know what you're thinking. You're feeling like a lucky guy. I was the same way, 'cause she was hard to come by. I was on her so hard that I almost lost my hustle. Go ahead, playboy, do your thing. Don't be mad if she calls my name. You're not supposed to know.